Hello everyone and welcome to today's Free Training Friday. My name is Kaylee White. I'm a marketing coordinator here at Abacus Next, and today we'll be talking about Abacus Payment Exchange. Our featured guest is Mohammed Eden. He's a product manager here at Abacus, and this will be roughly a 30-minute webinar. We will be going over Abacus Payment Exchange for 20 minutes, and then we can take time to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to submit them in the questions part of the webinar pane. Also, feel free to look out for an email afterwards with a recording of this webinar. And if you can hear us and see our screen, please raise your hand. You might see in the panel that you can raise your hand, and that would help us to know. Okay, thank you very much. With that, I will let Mohammed take it over. Hello, Mohammed.
Hello, good afternoon. Thanks, Kelly. Hello, everyone. My name, as Kelly says, Mohammed Eden. Thanks again for taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend this webinar. Today, I'll be talking about Abacus Payment Exchange. We use the short term APX. So if I use the term APX, it's Abacus Payment Exchange. And this is in the Amicus attorney software. What I would like to do is go through quickly a few slides here. I want to spend most of the time going through the demonstration of how to use, how we can make or leverage APX in Amicus Attorney. This demonstration will include signing up, the sign-up process within Amicus Attorney, managing payment methods, and processing a payment. So there are three parts to it. You sign up, the firm sign up, then we manage the payment method within the client contact card, and then we can process payments, and I'll show you how simple that process is. What's Abacus Payment Exchange? This is our new secured electronic payment processing system that handles major credit cards as well as e-check or ACH. ACH is another term we use for e-check also. And it's really all about providing your client with additional payment options so you can get paid quickly. Notice we are PCI compliant. Notice on the screen there I indicated PCI compliant, and that is the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard. So we are PCI compliant. One of our motto is payment made easy, and the idea is to make it as easy as possible for firms to implement credit card processing, of course within Amicus Attorney. You start with an onboarding process. Basically, you go through the onboarding process, as I mentioned before, and this will be covered in the first part of the demonstration. APX would allow you to process major credit cards. So we covered Visa, MasterCard, Amex, and Discovery. And it also allows you to process e-check. Now, you should be aware, to use APX, or Abacus Payment Exchange service, you do not have to sign a contract. There are no monthly fee. Normally, there's a monthly fee charge whether you use the service or not. We don't have any monthly fee. There's no fee per transaction. So sometimes there, in addition to the charge, there are transaction fee depending on the volume of transaction. And there are no monthly minimum. So you can do a few transactions. If 1 month you don't do a transaction, you don't pay anything. And there are no add-on fee for premium credit card. Instead, it is a 3% on credit card transaction and a 0%, so you get to process e-check for free. So there's 0% on that. Basically, we keep it simple and make payment easy for your client. With this additional payment option, you get paid quickly. So let's go through. As I mentioned, the demo will cover 3 areas. First of all, the onboarding, getting your system set up, your bank set up, and then managing the payment. And finally, we'll have a look at how you make those payments. So I'll switch my screen now to an area here where I already have the onboarding completed. However, and that's because to save us time, I went through that process. However, you'll notice the screen are basically the same, and I'll mention where you need to enter information. So I'll go through, first of all, the onboarding process here. You start by entering into Amicus Attorney. One of the things for your credit card processing and Amicus Attorney, you'll have to have the billing module. And notice at the top there we have the billing module. You also, in order to do the onboarding, you have to be an Amicus administrator because the onboarding process is in the firm setting here, right? And you'll notice, if you're familiar with Amicus, you'll notice we have an additional option there that said Abacus Payment Exchange, APX. And we have it, it's a new feature in there. So I'll click on that, and this is the screen you'll get. Basically, on this screen, it allows you to go through and do your onboarding process. And what we are doing here is basically allowing the user, if they want to use ATX, they can come in here, and then they click on Learn More. And then we present to them additional information. There's a Learn More button here. They get some additional information. Or they can start right away, get started. So if you click on Get Started here, you start with the onboarding process. Now, we want to make it as simple as possible, so what we do, we look back into your Amicus Attorney and see what information we can retrieve and pre-fill some or auto-fill some of these fields for you. So as you notice, I'm here logged in as Lucy, and it filled in some of the information there. The first screen that is presented to you is for the basic information, basically. You're entering the contact information so that any communication is done through that individual. It's best to probably have one of the partner or the managing partner do the onboarding, fill out information. Then we have the basic firm detail, basically, you know, the information pertaining to the firm, phone number, etc. And then we have the firm address on this next area here. The next screen here, when I go to next here, it's display or request personal information for the contact, for the individual who is setting up this onboarding. Still you can fill out information here, and we have an option here, you know, if you're declared bankruptcy previously, or if you're, you have any political exposure, because there are some additional checks that need to be done in that particular area. Let's click on Next, and we have the account detail. Now here is where you set up your bank account where you want the credit card deposit to go to, or your ACH. And we have it set up for, in our case on the screen here, we have it set up for both the operating and the trust account. However, you can choose to do your trust later on, and if you want to do just your operating account, you can do that. So you can click on No to not do your trust. Later on, if you do decide to do your trust, there is a screen when you go into that firm setting, you can then select to do onboard your trust account. So right now we're going to do both the general and the trust. You identify your bank account here, your account type, routing number, account number, etc. And for your trust, you do the same thing. Across here, it's just asking if you're currently using any sort of credit card system, and you can answer it appropriate, make your appropriate answer there. And once you're finished, those 3 screens, you click on Submit. And then it goes through a process of verification. It does a verification. Basically, it displays the information you entered here with your email address, and if you're satisfied with everything, you continue on. And it does some authentication questions here. You can go through those questions. I'll click on next. And then we have a screen here that shows what is going to be charged, and it's 3% flat rate, whatever the transaction value is. And it's indicated here for your operating account and for your trust account. So it's a simple payment scheme. You just pay the 3% flat rate. And also in here is your term and conditions, which you can download and read, or you can scroll through and read. In this particular case, I'll just say I agree. And that's it. Basically, you already submit your application. Now, in order for Abacus Payment Exchange to set up the bank and etc., it'll take a couple of days to do that. And you have a screen there that tells you it will basically take 2 business days to process that information. Now, let me just close that here. And you can see on this screen here, it just basically confirmed that, well, it'll take your application is in progress. It'll take that 2 business days. You can close the system at this point and continue on with your daily daily work. You can check it periodically. However, once the onboarding is completed, the system or APX will send you an email confirmation or an email notification confirming that that you have been you're now set up for APX. So here is a screen, a sample of what it will look like. It basically tells you that per transaction that you're allowed their limits. We don't want you to use basically per transaction to use large amount. There's some regulation on large amounts, so we try to limit that. And you have a monthly amount here. That's what it looked like. Let me close that, and I'll go back into now that I'm approved, I'll go back into my payment exchange area here, and you'll notice that the system assign or allocate to what we call the merchant account mapping, one general and one trust account, since we sign up for 2 accounts. The one general account that it's defaulted to is the one that is set up within Amicus as the default bank account for your operating or general account. Same things for the trust account. So right now we can go and do some payments on those accounts. But before we go and do any payments, I would like to show you how you manage or maintain your credit card on your client contact. So that's the next step, the next part of it that we'll look at. So let me click on OK on here, and it'll take me back to my screen so that I can show you that. So here we have managing payment method in Amicus Attorney. So the first thing we do when we're in Amicus Attorney, before we enter any payment, we may want to add the credit card, and the credit card is added to the contact information. But I should say here that you can add the credit card while you're making the data entry, and I'll show you that later on the next area. So let me just click on the people module here, and I'll click on one of the contact here. And this contact here is Janet Bailey. And we'll go under the action. This is on the contact card itself, and we'll select Manage APX Payment. Now, Janet happened to have one already set up, an MX one that is already set up there that we have previously set up. And you can click on the Add button if you have additional credit card that you want to enter for Janet. So I'll click on Add here, and you'll get a screen here that will allow you to enter your credit card or the cardholder credit card information, standard information here. You can also set it up to receive e-check from Janet Bailey. So either one you can do. You can set it up as a credit card or it's e-check. Let's do a credit card, and this one here is set to do a credit card here. An additional credit card here that is expired in January. I'm not sure because we have I guess we I said it incorrectly. That should have been 2018. But I'll submit that. One of the things that I should point out here is that there's an option there for when we process the credit card and take in a payment, we can send out a receipt to the credit card holder or to an email address that is displayed there. And anytime we do that payment, it'll then send that receipt informing the credit card holder that there was a charge on their credit card. So let's submit that, and you'll notice that it adds the Visa there, the one that we just submitted. And that means that when we do a payment or we receive a payment from Janet Bailey, we can use either of these credit cards. Now we have a default option there, and the reason why we have a default option is when you do a payment on a file where Janet Bailey is the primary client, the system will default to using this default setting here, Amicus card. Okay. So let's go back, and I'll go through and do the payment now, making a payment. Now I'm going to do a payment here for the general bank account, but be aware that it's a similar process. I don't think we may have much time to do a payment for trust, but it's a similar process. Now because it's received payment, you have to have billing, so we go through the billing part of it, and we go to a file. Now you can activate the receive payment of in Amicus billing by doing a right mouse click, by opening the file and making a receive payment. But what I'll do, I'll just select here the transaction icon, and I'll select the receive payment here. And this is a payment screen. Now notice on Janet Bailey, there's an $800 AR balance on there, and because we're using the default general bank account, it defaults to that account at the top here. And notice because Janet Bailey has some payment method, it lists the credit card information here for us. And if you notice, we add, as long as APX is activated, we add two payment methods, one for APX credit card payment and one for APX ACH payment, which is your e-check payment. Now, the credit card here, if you notice, we have two credit cards, the one that I added and the one from prior. And we can also use the add button here if you want to add. I mentioned earlier, if you are doing the payment and the client decides, well, there's a different credit card, or maybe at this point there was no credit card, but you want to add it, you can add that credit card on the fly also. Right. So once we have that, we can then make the payment. I'll just enter an $800 payment, the full amount for the AR, and then we can go and do a pay now. So what we have here, you'll notice that the payment is for the full amount in this case. You can do partial amount, but one other thing too, you'll notice that the date of the payment is today's date, right? We always have to use today's date whenever we cannot backdate a credit card processing. So when you process credit card, I should say, you should always use the current date. You cannot post-date a credit card payment. So that's something you should be aware of. If I change that date, it will prompt me that I have to use the current date. So once we make that payment, we can just do a pay now. We'll get a confirmation screen basically requesting us to confirm that is a charge that we want to process. And we have an option here if you don't want to show that. And this is an internal prompt. So if you say, yes, you want to process that, then the system will process the payment, indicate whether it's successful or failure. In this case, hopefully it's always successful. If it's a failure, that means that there's something wrong with that card. But if there's success, it'll give you this screen with a confirmation number. Now that confirmation number is saved on the transaction. So if you reopen the transaction at any point, you'll also see that confirmation number. So the confirmation number you don't need to take a copy of it, but we have a copy option. If you do need to take a copy, you can copy that and save it within your file or within whatever method you're using. I'll click on OK on that, and basically what it does, it take the payment and apply it against your AR balance there. It's similar to doing a regular payment, except this is your process on the credit card. Now, just to recap, basically, Amicus payment method is an electronic, is a secured electronic payment processor. It's a PCI compliant. Sorry, excuse me. It runs within Amicus Attorney. It is incredibly easy to sign up using our user-friendly wizard. If you notice, I went through the wizard there to sign up. It accepts all major credit cards. You can deposit credit card and e-check payment in your general bank account and your trust bank. It's a very simple fee structure we have, just 3% on the credit card transaction, 0 on the ACH or e-check transaction. As you can see, this service will provide your client with more payment options, hopefully prompting them to pay early, which will make everyone happy. It will increase the cash flow and hopefully cut down on collections. With that, I would love to entertain any question or comment you may have. Kaylee, I think, will do some of the questions there, or?
Yes, so feel free to submit your questions in the webinar control panel. You'll see it says questions. You hit the arrow, hit it, and it will open up, and you can type in your question. In the meantime, Mohammed, a lot of people ask about APX. Where does the 3% charge, or who pays that 3% charge?
That's a good question. It's a service provided to the firm. The firm pays it. It's up to the firm if the firm wants to pass that on to the client. But that's a very good question. What happens, take for instance, especially for trust, if the client provides you with a retainer, a trust retainer, you put it into your escrow account, what goes in there using APX is, let's say you pay $100. It's $100 going in there. The client see $100. It becomes basically invisible to the client. The charge for that, the 3% charge on that $100, which is $3, is taken out of your general bank account. And one of the things you will notice when you're doing your onboarding is the first thing you have to sign up for is your general bank account. Because doing trust, you can't really take the money out of the trust. You take the money out of the trust bank account, then you will end up with your book saying one thing and your bank saying another thing. It will become difficult to reconcile. So, and I don't think it's allowed in certain states to do that. You can't take out just take out the money like that. So yeah, the charges are taken out of your general bank account. I think it's on a periodic basis. So it's not. I might be wrong. It might be on a transaction, each transaction, but I can't see you taking out $3 for $100 for every transaction rather than accumulate it and taking it out maybe at the end of the day. Okay.
All right. Well, I don't see any further questions. You must have done an amazing job of explaining APX. So
I hope I did.
Mohammed.
Well, thank you very much, Kelly.
I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Stay safe on Halloween and enjoy. We're about to have a little Halloween party here at Abacus next, so I'm in my costume. I don't know about you, Mo.
No, we are doing it on Tuesday, actually.
I'm in San Diego. He's up in our Toronto office. So thank you again so much for everybody who came. Thank you, Mohammed. And everyone, feel free to sign up for next week's Free Training Friday. Go to abacusnext.com//webinars. We'll be talking about Amicus Attorney in the cloud. So thank you and have a wonderful Friday.
Thanks.